Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. With your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this one.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty then.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gaming Hub. This is episode number 91. I'm your host, Tyler, joined by our other co-host. Let's start with Graham. Graham, how you doing this week?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. Of course, you know it is playoff hockey, but we really don't want to talk too much about it because I think all three of our teams have started off playoff on the wrong foot. But there is hope after all, so that is an exciting thing. As far as gaming goes, it's been kind of a quiet week. I don't know anything that I've actually played extensively. A few nights I've been just playing some Rocket League, jumping in it, climbing the ranks finally. I did hit rock bottom there for a while, and it took a long time to climb my ass out of rock bottom. But I've slowly been getting out of it and playing with better people, so that's always great. So other than that, yeah, my week has been good and in for some stormy weather, it looks like. So I might be camping in and playing video games all weekend. How about you?
Nice. I'm doing all right. Steve, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, except for, the fact that the Ducks got killed yesterday, and we'll see how it goes on Saturday. And, next week, there might not be any more hockey. So, as far as that, but there's, some great games coming out. Been playing MLB, Far Cry, Cooney, and there's that other game coming out next week. I forget the name of it, but I think we're going to talk about it later.
Yeah, I think we'll hit on it.
Yeah. Other than that, baseball's going amazingly. Shohei Ohtani, Showtime. What can I say? He's batting like 350, and he almost pitched a perfect game last Sunday, so that's been fun. So for you baseball fans, or if you don't have a team, you can root for the Angels. They're fun to watch, so that's been nice. Everything else just How about yourself?
All right. Oh, not too bad. This week... It's been a cold spring so far, so we've had a lot of temperatures in the 30s, maybe 40s, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the week, it went from, 38 to 70 in a day, and that has brought all sorts of allergy fun for me, so apologize in advance if I'm not able to mute out a sneeze or something. But other than that, it's been a busy week work-wise. A lot of stuff going on, so I haven't had a chance to play too many games, but excited to talk about the stuff we have tonight and looking forward to diving into some games here over the weekend and next week because, there's this kind of little-known game coming out next Friday that I hear is doing okay review-wise, and we're going to talk about that later in the show. But otherwise, everything's going good. So, let's get the business out of the way before we start with news. But please join our community. You can do that in a multitude of ways. You can go to Facebook and join the Gaming Hub forums. You can go to Twitch and look us up there. We are TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. We also have Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. And when you're there, submit questions to be read on the show. If your question's read, like we'll do at the end of this show, you're entered to win our monthly giveaway, which is done in the last episode of every single month. So please head over, join up, and take part. We've had some people joining this week, which is awesome. I appreciate that. And finally, if you're listening to us on Dash Radio, we appreciate that. And again, take part in our community. Go over to Facebook, go to Twitch, go to Twitter, and join up, take part. And we have a pretty cool community of gamers that take a positive approach to gaming. You won't find a lot of trolling and stuff like that going on. So we encourage you to head over and do that. So with that, let's jump into news, guys.
In the news.
First up, Super Meat Boy Forever is going to be an auto runner with procedurally generated levels. Steve, you're a fan of this series, a fan of this game. So talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the auto running. To be honest, I like the movement aspects of the first game, but I did love the first game. It's brutally difficult, not easy. There were a decent amount of collectibles to get which were, in some cases, extremely hard, and then there were like the dark levels. But Celeste was a game that just came out recently. I had a blast playing it, and that also had some dark levels. So it'll be nice to get a new one. I like every few. If I can get one every few months, that'd be happy, because they're a nice game to go to when you're looking for something a little difficult to play, but also it's not like a pain in the ass. And for some reason, these games like de-stress me. Like they get rid of stress. Maybe it's the brutal nature of it, but like I actually like calm down while playing, until I die for the 5 millionth time on something. But otherwise, I like playing it. So we'll see how the auto running is, but I do like procedural generation because it just adds more playability. So
what systems is this coming out for?
I know it's Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Switch.
Okay,
And,
so all platforms.
All of them. Yep.
Yeah, like I've played some other titles similar to this. The End is Nigh and stuff like that. So to me, these seem like perfect Switch titles. So it's a good possibility that I will pick this up for the Switch at one point. It's not like on my radar or something I pick up right away. But yeah, no, I know people appreciate these types of games, and they seem to do quite well. So I'm sure this one will do quite well as well.
All right. Sounds good. So a game to look forward to, especially for Steve. Sounds like you're interested. Let's head over to the PlayStation side. So rumors continue to abound about the PlayStation 5. We hear a lot of stuff. Who knows what's true, what's not, but new stuff coming out this week. Rumors that the PlayStation 5 is real. That's no surprise.
Yeah, definitely was coming.
But that it's not coming real soon. And by not real soon, the latest rumor says 2020. So, what does that mean for the gaming industry? Because we all kind of anticipated that this year at E3, we'd see something for PlayStation 5. Maybe like the little teaser, the sizzle reel like we saw for the One X in 2016.
Yeah.
Just kind of get people's attention. But are they really going to put that out there 2 years away? And is the 2020 true? What do you think?
If this is true, I think this is a very bad step for them. Just because they missed out on the 4K Blu-ray player. And 4K TVs are just going to get more and more popular. They're going to come further down in price. And people are going to want a system that they can play 4K Blu-rays on. Because not all people are like, their main focus is in video games. So there's going to be people out there that are going to look for a 4K Blu-ray player. And they're going to go to Best Buy or wherever. And they're going to be like, well, if you buy this is a 4K Blu-ray player that plays native 4K, but it's also a gaming console as well. Like if you have kids, or if you're thinking maybe you'll get into gaming later, or you are kind of into gaming. So I think this is amazing news for Xbox, because they're like, well, we are going to be the most powerful console on the market for the next 2 years. So whether this is going to be actually true and not going to come out till 2020, that is a long time. And like we were joking before, how the PS Semi-Pro, like when the Pro came out, that it wasn't a huge upgrade from the PlayStation 4. So I think this is a misstep if it is actuality, but Xbox is definitely stoked because they do not have the exclusives to back it up. But now they're going to have the more powerful gaming console for 2 years. So I'd be really surprised if it is actually that long before we see a PlayStation 5. But yeah, that's what I think. You guys agree or disagree?
Steve, what do you think?
I mean, I think that it is probably going to be delayed till 2020. Because 2018, that's this E3, and then we'll probably see something next E3. Well, we might see something this E3, but I think the big news would be next E3, and then it would come out probably. Well, maybe even late 2019, like Christmas time. Like that wouldn't be a terrible release window, heading or the turn of the year. I do think it hurts PlayStation a little bit. I think the bigger news in that report was that it won't play PS4 games. So yeah. Xbox seems to be going the route of, you can play the games on any version of the console you have, which is awesome. And I hope they continue that, because PC games, you can play PC games that are 20 years old on the PC. Now, some of them don't work perfectly, but you can. So I like the idea of being able to play games across the generations. If I want to go back and play something from like the Xbox original days, which you can do with backwards compatibility now. So I think that's going to hurt PlayStation more than anything else.
So is that a confirmed thing? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, nothing's confirmed.
It's just reported.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but I think that's going to hurt them. I think Xbox needs to actually start getting exclusives out to capitalize on this 2-year window. But I do agree with you, Graham, that especially if they can start dropping the price of the One X a little bit, or maybe even bundle some 4K movies in with a game or something, like that wouldn't be the worst decision to try to get people to buy an Xbox One X.
No, it makes sense. It would promote the 4K Blu-ray player.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens.
For me, a couple things. So on the 4K Blu-ray player, by 2019, or especially by 2020, for the price of 4K Blu-ray players is going to come down so much that the idea of like, here's a console with a 4K Blu-ray player is not going to be a cost-effective like alternative to just getting a 4K Blu-ray player. So I think Sony totally missed the window on that already. Because when the Pro launched last year, that was a time where, or was the year before, wasn't it? Yeah, it was November of 16. Yeah. So that was a time where 4K Blu-ray players still cost like $400. And you could get, the idea that you could get a gaming console with a 4K Blu-ray player put inside for the same price was a great thing for consumers. And Xbox capitalized on that with the One S and then the One X for including a 4K Blu-ray player. By the time the PS5 comes out, it's not going to make a difference. That's not going to convince people to come over and do that. And, just for that reason. It'll be like added bonus type thing. Just like all the streaming services and apps right now are added bonus, but it's not a seller.
Yeah. But see, it's nice to have like 2-in-1 as well, right? Because now I need to have an extra system and then like another 4K. So if I can combine both into one, then why wouldn't I, right? Because it's less clutter, less inputs and stuff like that.
Sure, and that's what I mean by it's an added thing that provides convenience for consumers. But like if you're looking for a game for a 4K Blu-ray player, a year and a half ago, you could go in and you could actually get a better deal by buying an Xbox One S.
Yes. Versus
getting just a 4K Blu-ray player. You get it for cheaper, and it's a game console too. Awesome, right? So by the time the PS5 comes out, that's not going to be the case anymore because you're already seeing 4K Blu-ray players come down in price. As far as it being like great for Xbox, it can be. They got to get some damn games out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right now Xbox is squandering any goodwill around the Xbox One X because the best titles they're releasing for One X came out, like 8 years ago?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that later.
It's better for, like, newer gamers who haven't played these games, but for, like, most of us who have already played these games, like, getting it in Xbox One X Enhanced, like, it's not something like, okay, I need to buy this because I need to play the same game and better graphics. So basically, like, if I didn't already play that game, then it would be more appealing. But it still has, like it's faster processor and games run quicker. So there's still a lot of benefits, but not as like overwhelming benefits.
We all went out and bought one, right? So it's not like it's not like we're trashing on it. I'm not trashing on the console. The console's awesome. I just wish there were games to play that aren't, re-releases and remasters and enhancing games that came out last generation for 4K. Like, it's great that they're doing that, and that should be like a supplemental, like, hey, you can do this too, on top of this awesome lineup of first party that we have for you to play. But they don't have that. They don't have that awesome lineup of first party, and I don't see it happening this year. Like, Sea of Thieves has been pretty polarizing, and we're going to talk about that later in the show. But there's a good chance that Sea of Thieves will be the best Xbox One exclusive this year. And at least the most inclusive one, because State of Decay...
That we know of.
Yeah, that we know of, but we can't bank on shit they haven't told us.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, Crackdown is not going to compete. That game looks like shit.
Console seller.
It's not a console seller. You know what console it's going to sell? The PlayStation.
I'm kidding, yeah.
Yeah, run people away.
Yeah.
I would like to point out.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was just pointed out to me that what I said about PS5 not playing PS4 games was a false rumor. So it supposedly will be able to play PS4
though, right?
games. Well, nothing's confirmed. We've already mentioned that. Yeah. But according to the original rumor, that it will play PS4 games. So, well, that was probably smart on Sony.
I would say if
it would be really dumb if they didn't.
Yeah, it would be really dumb, really, really dumb, because how advanced games are right now, and there's so many games out there that you're gonna say that you get a PS5 that you won't be able to play any of the great PS4 titles if you missed out on it.
Yeah. Well, you can't play any of the great PS3 ones.
Yeah, but I think
it's entirely true. There's PS Now.
Well, sure, but if you pay for it, yeah. And remaster, so you gotta buy it again. Sure.
That's true.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, to me, it seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of times, like, I thought the PlayStation 4 Pro should have had a Blu-ray player. Like, that was a no-brainer, but it didn't happen. So, basically, anything that's a no-brainer, you can't bank on it actually being that.
Well,
so.
Here's the question for me on this, and I want to ask you guys this. What does it need to be? Like, if they launch something in 2019 or 2020 that is the same power as the One X, is that enough? Because they'll be able to do it for cheaper, so the price will be less. Mm-hmm. They'll probably be able to do it for $400. But is that enough? What does this system need to have to really, lay claim to being the most powerful console that's out there right now? And, because Sony's always kind of taken some pride in that, being the best. So what does it need to be?
See, I don't think the system itself could make me buy it. It's going to have to be the exclusives. So say if, I don't even know what title, we'll say God of War 6 or whatever. If that's out, then that might convince me. But just saying, the graphics is going to be just so much better. Like, how much more better is it going to get better than native 4K? Like, native 5K or something like that?
No. Well, 8K's out there.
Yeah, but I think that technology is pretty far to be in, like for most consumers to be able to get their hands on, right?
You'd be surprised at how fast some of the shit moves, though. Like,
yeah, I was about to say, it's going to be, if it's 2 years from now, it's going to be better than the Xbox One X at probably a similar, if not a little cheaper price point, because the technology will be out. Because, early adopters always get hit with high costs as the parts are expensive. As 4K TVs have gone down in price since they've come out. And, yeah, eventually 8K is going to be the price of 4K.
Yep. And
then who knows it from there. So I don't know what it will be, if it will have 32 teraflops or whatever it's called. But, it probably will, or they market it as such. So we'll see what happens. But I think the fact that it got delayed, or it's supposedly, I don't even think it's delayed. I think it wasn't originally ever going to come out until 2020. That makes me think Death Stranding will definitely be a launch title.
And Graham brought up a great point, and Steve, you stole a little thunder there, but Graham brought up a great point, that this comes down to the games, not the system. You can have the greatest system in the world. Xbox is suffering from this right now. They literally have the best system console out there. There's nothing to play on it that you can't play on PlayStation that's super good, at least good enough to go spend $500. Mm-hmm. And PlayStation's always had the better lineup of exclusives. Like, I love my Halo, I love Gears of War, Forza's fun, but when you look at the overall, lineup, it's not really that much of a comparison. So, But, Graham, if you're looking for God of War 6 to sell you this thing, you're not going to buy a PS5 till, like, 2024.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like basically, it's those franchises. Like, I almost did it for No Man's Sky. And then I bought one just because somebody was selling it and it was a good deal. But I honestly, there's only certain titles. It's not how good the machine is.
Yeah. But there's this game that's coming that I heard people are interested in. You know, it's kind of an indie title, up and comer, developing it. What's it called again, Steve? You mentioned it.
I think that title is God of War.
No.
Oh, Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Yeah, it's not God of War.
And you know, I heard that this Kojima guy, up and comer, he's got potential.
Yep. I heard he made a couple good games.
Yeah, you know, a couple small games that did okay, but you know they're thinking the high ceiling. That's going to be a launch title along this new system. Steve, you're absolutely right. There's no doubt. Why would you not?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a Last of Us this thing. Last of Us should have been a launch title for the PlayStation 4. And not a swan song for the PlayStation 3. And that's my opinion. And I hope they don't make the same mistake with Death Stranding. Now, I can see it be released on both, for sure. But it should be a launch title alongside PlayStation 5, because that's going to move consoles, and that's going to get people who have Xboxes right now to also buy PlayStation 5s.
Yeah. And I actually hope that it does come out in 2020, because it feels far enough away where, like, because I just bought my One X, and as we'll talk about in a minute, I'm about to spend more money. But so if Xbox and PlayStation start staggering releases, like, doesn't that help both? Because now people will buy a PlayStation, and then let's say 3 years later, the new Xbox comes out. Like, wouldn't people have the money? Like, they're not choosing between one because you already spent money on the PlayStation, so now you're like, hey, I can buy an Xbox as well.
Yeah.
And then you're basically just competing for multi-plats, like what system you'd rather play those on, and it's just where your friends list is.
Yeah, so, I do agree with that for sure, but they gotta have PS4 backwards compatible. Because that will be kind of deciding too. Like, I know it's 2 years and a lot change.
No, they don't.
Do they? Do they have to? You're saying, Graham, they have to give up on PlayStation Now? Really though, is it really?
That's true, right?
Is it really the old shit that's gonna make you go buy it?
No, but there's still some titles back from other generations. They're like, oh, you got to play that game, but I'm like, well, I'd like to play that game, but now I got to go and buy a new system to play that game.
Well, I never finished Donkey Kong, but I'm not waiting for that to come out on console for me to buy one. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I get what you're saying.
Yes. But when people own a library of titles or games, they still want to be able to play these games, and then they don't want to have 5 different systems to play it. So it's just a convenience factor, which, to me, it doesn't seem like it's mission impossible to allow this to do something that seems like it should be able to do it.
No, it's not mission impossible, Graham, but why do it for free when you can make money off of it?
It's true. And then it comes down to making money, right?
So are you really going to ask them to give up PlayStation Now? Are you really going to expect them to abandon PlayStation Now to say, oh, if you have these discs from PS4, they're going to work here. Have fun.
But and then it comes down to the size of games. So now you're going to expect people to do 70 gig downloads of every game they want to play if they owned it. I know, but this is some people, even you, for example, Tyler, you have a restriction on how much you can download per month.
Yeah, I have a data cap, sure, and that's becoming more and more prevalent. But that's not Sony's problem. They don't care.
Yeah.
And they'll sell you Sony themed hard drives for the low cost of much more than you can get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's not pretend that's a strict Sony issue. Microsoft.
Well, no, it's not.
It's
not.
So.
Well, they
for
probably
sure.
took that from Apple because Apple's all over that one.
Yes, Apple is the king of
$800 for a
fucking their
2 terabyte hard drive.
No, my favorite thing Apple did was those the earbuds that are like wireless,
Yes,
and then they
yes.
sold a cord to like, I think it was called Never Loser or something like that, so you wouldn't lose those earbuds. I'm like, now they're just fucking playing you guys, you Apple fans, man. I can't.
So you want to hear the irony of that, Steve? Is that I got the iPhone 7 Plus and I didn't want to take the wireless earbuds out of the box because I was afraid I was going to lose them, and then I lost the box. So I don't know where they are. They're somewhere. I have them. I just don't know where they are.
Brand new, never been used. Still
Never used.
Just
Yep.
like his PSVR.
True.
Yeah.
Just like PSVR.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that's the
all
one
right.
thing I hate about Apple, by the way. Not to go too far off topic. I liked being able to plug in my headset and listen to podcasts and listen to stuff like that while I was playing games. And I hate now that it's not that anymore. And I know you can get an adapter or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Or
I
cases.
don't want the adapter. I just want to be able to plug the damn thing in.
You know what I
Because the
don't have to do with
adapter
my
is...
S9 Plus is plug an adapter in.
I know. But the adapter, of course, it's only made by Apple.
Yep.
And it costs like $500. It doesn't really. But, it's proprietary, so they charge more for it.
Yeah, we could go on a 40-minute.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But it's not just them either. It's a lot of companies, right?
It
Companies are
might
always
be
looking
dumb
for
shit,
ways
but
to generate more.
it's smart in marketing. Like they make
But-
so much
Sure
money
it is.
from it.
Yeah, and place everyone has their proprietary shit, and some of the companies like Apple and Sony are very good at making you feel shitty for being dumb or for not being dumb enough to stick with them.
Yeah, but
Sorry
Apple
if I
was...
just insulted you guys.
Yeah, but Apple was smart. No, it's fine. I'm like a lot of people. Like I like what's comfortable, right? And now I'm comfortable with Apple, so it's what I get.
Yes.
But Apple was smart in that they built up a lot of customer loyalty
Yes.
because
And
they
for the
could
best
they could
customer
put out
service as well.
they could release a literal paper bag full of dog shit that has the Apple logo on it, and there'd be a line around the corner at every Apple store in the country.
It's true.
So they've done a good job building up that loyalty, and I think PlayStation, to come back to gaming, has done the same.
Yeah.
Like they have built a community that's fiercely loyal to PlayStation above anything else. And to the point where even when Xbox does something good, they'll go and make YouTube videos and stuff to try to spin it to make it look shitty. Just because they want PlayStation to win.
Yeah.
And that's credit
I
to
don't like
Sony.
fanboys.
No, I don't like that either. I hate it. But it's credit to Sony for doing such a good job at building up customer loyalty and trust in that brand. And to make consumers not just love the brand, but feel invested in the brand. That's credit to them. Microsoft has yet to do that on the same level.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I'd like to go back a few minutes ago. Graham mentioned the size of games getting bigger, but I'd argue that yes, there are data caps, but also companies Google is one of the only ones, but Google Fiber with their 1 terabyte or 1 gigabyte, or gigabit a second speeds with their Google Fiber, and I feel like that's eventually going to be the thing. So I think the internet's download speeds are going to end up matching not make it so that even huge games they're going to get downloaded quickly.
You're
in
right.
Korea,
Still,
they
there
have
will be some
extremely
people.
fast download speeds.
I have the option to get 1 gig download speeds here. All that means is I'm going to hit my data cap faster.
Yeah, wait, from Comcast?
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's your problem. Is your
Well,
with Comcast.
there's limited options. Because
I
I
know.
could have gone DirecTV with AT&T and their what's called Uverse or whatever the fuck is.
Yeah,
they're
they're 5 megabit a second.
Yeah.
max
Oh, it's
speed.
super fast. It's fine for
Wow.
gaming. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's not. I know. I when I moved in here, I called AT&T because Time Warner was taking their sweet ass time installing
Yep.
the cable, and I'm like, so what's your download speed? And she's like 15. It's like, we have it, and it is fine. My son don't have a problem gaming. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
What does he
50
play?
Is like,
Stream
Yeah.
some Fortnite.
What does he play?
and
Words
see
with
how that
Friends?
yeah.
I mean, it's like... Anyway.
It's funny though, because when I first started playing the Xbox 360 online, I don't even I think our max speed was 1 megabit a second, and I could play. It got laggy at times, especially if someone else was on the internet. But
yeah, I remember I moved out of a metro area to a rural area for work, and my download speed went from like 100-ish to like 12. And games like NHL where you're connecting with a lot of people and there's a lot going on, that was a problem. And this was a few years ago. This was back in like, I don't know, 2013-ish. But that was a problem at 12 back then. So, and multiplayer shooters were a problem for me, all that stuff with that type of speed. Like now I have, I think, 200 download, which is fine. Like I have no problems with that. Everything works beautifully. It's great. It's awesome. I love it. But yeah. So let's move on though.
Yeah.
If that's all right.
Sure.
So speaking of, we talked about Death Stranding, up and comer, right? A little known game. There's another one that's coming out next week that I hope everybody gives a chance. It's new. It's unheard of. This game called.
All eyes.
Yeah. This game called God of War. Is that right? Game called God of War coming out next Friday for the PlayStation. Hugely anticipated game.
Hugely.
And this game's been shown at E3, I think, for the last 8 years, something like that. Really, the last like 2 or 3. We've seen bits and pieces of this, and every time they've shown it, it looks more awesome. And I knew this game was out of the freaking park good when I saw earlier this week that these massive companies, the massive like game journalism companies, were being allowed to post reviews more than a week before the release. Because when Sony says you can do that, or when any company says you can do that, they know they've got a Game of the Year contender on their hands.
Yeah, I was surprised to see reviews that early.
Otherwise, they're not letting you review it that early. They want to try to sucker you into buying it before you see that it sucks. Right? So, when I saw it was going to be that, I was like, man, this game's going to be good. And the reviews supported that theory. IGN gave it a 10. Polygon gave it a 10. The worst scores I'm seeing are like 9.25. And that's the worst score.
Yeah.
Whereas in comparison, we're going to get Sea of Thieves in a little bit, but Sea of Thieves was all over the map in review scores. Some people gave it like a 5.5. Some people gave it like 8.5 to 9. And there was a lot in between in like that 6-ish range, 6 to 7, right? So there is no like difference of opinion about God of War so far. This game is getting solid 9.5 to 10 across the board. How excited are you guys to play this a week from today?
I'm super excited. But Steven, you tell us how excited you are first.
I am also extremely excited to play this. So much so that what was it, like a month ago? We were talking, Tyler and I, and I've been kind of wanting to get into VR, and I knew I couldn't without the Pro, and then I just happened to look, and like I saw God of War Pro or God of War PS Pro's console, and I'm like, okay, and then I started doing some math in my head, and I'm like, all right, $399, and then, but if I sell my current PS4, how much would I get? Okay, so it's really only $200, but I'm paying for God of War anyway, so it's like you know what? At $150, yeah, let's do it. So I'm gonna be getting the God of War PS4 Pro, and it looks amazing. But I'm excited to play the game. The game looks awesome. From the very little I've seen, because I knew I would buy it, so I don't like spoiling stuff for myself, so I haven't watched all that much. I watched a video of the combat because I'm curious how they changed it, but I really just can't wait to get my hands on it. And yeah. So, Graham, what about you?
Yes. No, I've actually pre-ordered the same console as well, because kind of like with Steven, I wanted to get a PS4 Pro for a while, and just because it gives me the VR option if I do jump in for it, which is a good chance I might. But yes, the whole reason that I ever bought a PlayStation 3, or that was the only PlayStation I ever bought, was the 3, but up until the 4. and I just bought it for the God of War franchise. I saw a friend playing it, and I'm like, this is awesome. Sometime in the future, I will own a PlayStation 3, and I will go out and buy God of War. And then I went and bought God of War, the anthology, or whatever it was called, the collection. And yes, I love those games. Like, I love the whole story and the combat. And I don't know how they changed combat with the new one. Because, like Steven, I haven't looked up any of the details. Only what I saw from E3 last year, I know from God of War. And I read a little bit about it, not much. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I'm sure that game's just going to look so stunning in 4K on my nice 4K TV with HDR. So, yeah, I'm thrilled. And the fact that it comes with this console now, yeah, it just makes sense, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. And then after, I know Spiderman looks amazing, so I will get that game, and that's as far as on my radar for PlayStation games, but well worth it for God of War. That's a console seller in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
It don't even have to be a God of War edition PS4 Pro. Like, I will just buy PS4 to play that game.
This game is the definition of a console seller.
Yes.
It is a long game. It's not short. It is a game that has a track record of being awesome. And it is quite possibly the best iteration of the series so far. By what we're seeing in reviews. Like, how do you go wrong here? And I'm really excited for this game. I'll be honest, this will be the first God of War I ever play.
Really?
Yep. And I'm really excited to play it. Because I love, like, the Viking type setting. Love it. We don't see that in a lot of games. I think that's awesome. I loved what we saw at E3 the last 2 years from this game. It looks just amazing. And I've always been kind of most excited for Spiderman from PlayStation. But man, this game has always come back and been like, oh yeah, God of War's coming. That looks awesome. And the fact that it seems like they've delivered on everything, I can't wait for next Friday. I can't remember saying that about PlayStation games all that often. And even though... So, what I do want to ask you guys is this. What does Xbox have in... Not just coming this year, because we know that's nothing. But what do they have in their lineup, in their arsenal, that matches God of War in terms of style, story, gameplay, all of that? What do they have?
Well, I would say the closest title that I played for on the Xbox, which it doesn't really compare, but it is the same style, like combat and stuff like that, as the older God of War, and that's Darksiders. When I played Darksiders, I'm like, they tried to be God of War. They're not God of War, but that is...
Right, but Darksiders is a multi-console.
Yeah, that was a multi-platform.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking just... Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, just
but
Xbox
that is
exclusives.
this type of game like that, though.
Sure. But, like, in their arsenal for exclusives, what do they have? Nothing.
Nothing.
Really.
And they've never had anything like it.
Nope.
No.
And this is where PlayStation beats them, and it's why PlayStation beats them. Because when it comes to bro shooters, Xbox has them. When it comes to racing games, Xbox has them. But it's these games, and these games are the ones that sell a ton. Because there's a segment of gamers that love shooters, but a lot of your shooter players aren't overall what we'd call gamers. And I think that's an unfair statement, considering that I just said it. But, because I think anybody who likes to play video games is a gamer. But what a lot of people would say is a, quote, gamer are people who play lots of different types of games, different genres. And those types of players love games like God of War, and not just shooters, not just racing games, not just sports games. They love everything, and God of War it appears that this is going to be sort of the epitome of what next-gen gaming should be right now. And I haven't played it yet, but from the reviews, it seems to be that way. Xbox doesn't have anything in the chamber to combat this. Nothing. So it's a problem for them. Steve, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I am 100% with you. There is nothing. If honestly, if I did not love the Xbox UI as much, I'd be on the PS4 because the PS4 has all the games. All my friends from the 360 days are on the Xbox, and I just gotten used to it. And like you said earlier, comfort is key, and like I'm comfortable with the Xbox. But my PlayStation has the games I enjoy more, like Persona 5, Kingdom Hearts, and then God of War, Spider-Man. So if it, yeah, I'd be and then Nino Kuni and MLB as well. So there's just so many games on PlayStation that Xbox just doesn't have, and it's a huge problem for them. And E3, as we've said before, is going to be a make or break year for them, I think. Because honestly, I'm going to be pretty upset at Microsoft if they do not come out and announce a lot of like big first party exclusive games. And they like their best exclusive game on the Xbox One is Sunset Overdrive, and that was a release title, and they fucked that up and let them go make a great looking game for Sony in Spiderman. So like, yeah, my Xbox One X is the most powerful console, but there's nothing there's no exclusives to play on it.
So
yeah, I mean,
yeah. Well, I want to add real quick. If you're listening,
I know why you're laughing, Tyler.
If you're listening to us for the first time, you're probably thinking, "God, these guys freaking hate Xbox." We don't. We all have Xbox One. It's the console we play the most. We say all this out of love and out of like so much want for them to have a lineup like this.
It's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. It's out of love. And we love both systems. Because I'm so much more excited for what PlayStation's bringing this year than I am for Xbox. And I still love playing on Xbox because ultimately it comes down to where do your friends play, right? And the UI, Steve, like you mentioned, has a huge role in me loving Xbox, right? But, man, I just want to see the games. Like, early in this generation, I thought Xbox had a bit of an edge. Because they were putting out Halo 5, and they put out Sunset Overdrive, which was new and different and awesome. And games like that. Whereas PlayStation was putting out, it was like, it was the console of remasters.
Yeah.
I mean, you got, what's called, Infamous early on. You got Killzone early on, but that wasn't all that great. But ultimately, it was a lot of remasters coming out on the PlayStation. Xbox actually had something of a lineup. Right now, they have nothing, and it's partly because they closed a bunch of studios and canceled a lot of games.
Yep, I'm still pissed about Scalebound. Don't even. Yeah. The one kind of JRPG that Xbox might have had, and like that's my game, and that's why Sony will always be the bigger console in Japan. Is there's no like JRPGs, and I know that kind of seems like circular reasoning, but. Like they like those type of games over there, and that's why Sony sells well, and Xbox has nothing.
Well, and the fact that Sony just appeals to a more broad base of gamer to begin with,
that's true.
Because of their lineup. We just all agreed Xbox has nothing in the chamber to combat a game like God of War. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Or Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man for that matter. They did with Sunset Overdrive.
Yes.
But not anymore. So, Graham, I want to ask you, by the way, before we move on. You played Sunset Overdrive for the first time this past week.
I know.
And I'm so jealous of you.
Yes.
Because you get to experience it for the first time brand new. So I want to know your thoughts. And your role on the podcast hangs in the balance right now. So go ahead and tell me what you think of the game.
Okay. So I'm not going to go all gushy like you guys and saying like it's amazing, it's the greatest game ever. But this game is super fun. If you're like into like parkour and like skateboarding games and like shooters, and it just combines a lot of great elements from other games. And basically you just like you grind throughout the city. Like I mean by like actually grind, not like grinding through like trying to get stuff. Although there's that stuff as well. But yeah, the story is cool. Like it's just a fun game to play. And I put a lot of hours into it over the week. I don't know exactly how far into the game I am, but like the story is not like amazing, but it's interesting enough that you want to like progress the story and just see what happens and stuff like that. But yeah, the game is fun. You have like super cool weapons, like kind of gives me a hint of Dead Rising and stuff like that, where you don't really craft them, you unlock them or buy them, but you just kill like hordes of like these creatures and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's super fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to stick with it until I finish it,
Yep.
which I don't know how many more hours, like a couple more sessions, I'm sure I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know about replayability, about going back for it, but I feel like I'm glad that I'm going to finish this game because it was one that it was not on my radar whatsoever. But these two guys just kept talking about it over and over,
Yeah.
and I'm like, maybe I should give it a try. It's a game with gold. It's costing me nothing, just some of my valuable time, real valuable. And with Spider-Man coming out, after I was playing this, like I see how they have the traversing of the terrain down pat, and how much better it's going to be in Spider-Man. So yeah, I think this is the right company to make such a game because you don't realize how much traversing it is in that game until you actually play it.
So let me ask you this, Graham.
Yeah.
You weren't turned on by the game early, right? Like when it first came out. So explain why. Like, and I'm not saying like you should be shamed for not being turned on to it. I'm seriously curious.
Should be ashamed.
By the way, your answer was acceptable. You can stay.
Okay.
But
Sweet.
I'm here. I'm curious to hear why, because I do have a point to make from that. But go ahead. Like, why did it take like poking and prodding to get you to play it?
Okay, so I don't remember when I first saw it or it was announced. It was probably a bunch of E3s ago, and nothing really like appealed to me about it. Like I don't know if they showed the gameplay. I think it was maybe just like a cinematic trailer or something like that. And I never heard anybody talk about it. I'm not sure whether games were around that time, but it was just not on my radar whatsoever. Like I saw it, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like it nothing grasped me. So I'm guessing it was the marketing. I'm thinking like I never saw videos. Maybe I just wasn't into that type of game at that time. I don't know.
That game got released in between, a couple games that, not many people play, like Call of Duty and Halo Master Chief Collection and Destiny, right?
And Titanfall.
And Titanfall, yeah. No, Titanfall was in the spring.
That's right. Yeah.
Titanfall was spring 14.
The spring after.
Yeah,
Sorry.
spring before. So, my point, Graham, is this. Can you name what big PlayStation games are coming out this year? Huge ones?
I can. Even if we just didn't talk about them.
Yep.
I could name them.
Can you name what huge PlayStation games are coming out next year and for the next like 3 or 4?
There's some I can.
Yeah,
There's
so you can name. You can name Days Gone. That's what it's called. Stupid
Days
zombie
Gone,
game.
yeah.
Otherwise known as Days Gone.
Death Stranding.
You can name Death Stranding. And they've done a pretty good job building up excitement. You're just zombied out at this point for video games, so that's why you think that Days Gone is stupid, right?
Yeah.
Although you seem to be a little excited about the new Walking Dead game. I don't know if that's because you're a Walking Dead like fanboy or because it actually looks good. I haven't had a chance to see the trailer yet, but I know we were talking about it and you said it looks promising.
I'd say little from column A, little from column B.
Yeah. My point, though, is this. They've had... not Sea of Thieves. Sunset Overdrive is probably the most unique original title Xbox One had up until Sea of Thieves. And I still think it's more unique and original than Sea of Thieves. No, you didn't even really know all that much about what it was about.
No.
Until you played it. But I bet you can tell me something about God of War, and I bet you can tell me something about Spider-Man, and I bet you can tell me something about Days Gone, and about Death Stranding. Right now.
A lot.
Now, I want you to do that, because we only have an hour and a half to do the show. But,
so here we go. No.
My point is, Sony's so much better at this. At just generating excitement for the games that are coming out, not just this year, but years to come. And it gets their fan base so excited and supportive of what they're doing, even if they're not going to get the payoff for literally 2 years or 3. And Xbox needs to get better at that.
Yeah, and they also don't shoot themselves in the fucking foot by putting games right up against games that you know are going to sell well, like Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Yeah.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn came out like the second week of February last year, around nothing, and it sold well. And then
think about this.
Like,
this is going to be the 3rd consecutive year, it has a chance anyway, to be the 3rd consecutive year that the Game of the Year winner was released before summer.
yeah.
Because it very well could be God of War this year based on the reviews. It was Legend of Zelda last year.
Yep, that was in March.
And the year before it was The Witcher 3. All of those games came out in the first half of the year. Like, Xbox needs to learn from this. And then they didn't learn from Sunset Overdrive because they did the same damn thing with Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And then I think they finally kind of learned. A little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So,
I always say it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them.
Well, but they
if you're not
haven't.
going to learn from them, don't make the damn mistake.
And the thing is, we say all this out of love for Xbox, right? We want it to be great.
Nothing but love.
I have this awesome console, and I just want to play shit on it that's like original and new. I don't want 1X remasters of shit that I played 10 years ago. I don't want it. I mean, it's cool, but if that's the thing you're putting in front of me saying, here's why you should be happy you have the Xbox One X. No. But, yeah, I just want to see it. But anyway. Alright, let's move on. And since we're talking about Xbox, let's move into Xbox stuff for the week. And speaking of games that are like 10 years old or older, we're getting 19 new games being added to backwards compatibility after the Inside Xbox episode last Tuesday. So those games include Knights of the Old Republic 2, Battlefront 1 and 2, like the good Battlefront 1 and 2, not the recent Battlefront 1 and 2. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Morrowind, Jade Empire. And we're seeing games being enhanced for the One X. So, since there's nothing new to play there, you can play Gears of War 2. You can play Portal 2. You can play Star Wars Force Unleashed. And here's the one that actually gets me a little bit. You can play Red Dead Redemption, Xbox One X Enhanced, starting very soon, if not now. So,
yeah.
I want to ask, I want to go to Graham on this first. Because, Graham, you are famously the one on the show who's never actually finished Red Dead Redemption. And then you tried it when it came out on backwards compatibility.
Yes.
And it was kind of like, because I think you felt it was dated a little bit. Or whatever. And you never really finished it. So, is the One X enhancement going to get you back?
I'm not going to say it's going to get me back for sure, but I will give it, as Steve would say, the old college try. And I'll just see if it hooks me. And it all depends on how many other games I'm currently working on or something like that, because right now it's going up against Shadow of War and Far Cry 5. So those are some hefty titles for me to choose that game over. So okay. I don't know, like I'm definitely going to at one point load it into my Xbox and download the update so it's better, and then I might try it and see. But yeah, honestly, I've probably put in, let's say, maybe 4 hours into this game altogether.
Yeah.
So
and that's not enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and especially if I plan on playing the new one when it comes out.
Yep.
I would kind of like finish this one, or at least be deep enough into it so I can kind of understand the story.
You want to finish it. Like, at the end, there's some impactful stuff that happens at the end of Red Dead.
Okay.
Agreed.
Duly noted, and I will let you guys know if I do play it and how far I get into it.
Okay. Steve, what titles here stand out for you? What games stand out for backwards compatibility, for Xbox One X enhancement, or both?
Nothing.
Really?
It's funny because this whole show I've been kind of shitting on the Xbox, have I not? But Tyler, you can attest to this. When I get home from work or school or whatever, The console I turn on 95% of the time is
Yep.
my Xbox.
Same here.
And it's the one that's on most of the time, which, kind of says something. So, like, I want to see it succeed. It's just...
It's out of love, right?
It's making me mad because they keep doing the same thing over and over again. And like I said, E3 will be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on them for this E3.
Well, I think it's becoming very clear that which company E3 is more important for.
Yeah.
And Xbox needs to deliver, and they've done a really good job the last couple of years. Yeah. So I mean, they need to build on that, though.
I'll think about playing Destroy All Humans again. That's a really fun game.
It is really fun.
The aliens and like the bad guy in an alien invasion, which to me was an amazing concept. Maybe give Knights of the Old Republic 2 a try again. I mean, I played it a lot the first time it came out, but I was young, so I didn't really know what I was doing, so I didn't get very far. But I'd think about playing that. But other than that, like Red Dead, I might play over the summer just because Red Dead 2 is coming out and there's not much to play over the summer. But we'll see how...
What about Morrowind?
It goes. No, I have that on the PC. I tried. It's too outdated. Dated. And also, it is one of the more creative of the Elder Scrolls games, though, with the enemies. Like, they are, like, legit mutant nightmare-looking things. They're not just, like, giant-ass fucking spiders and giant rats and giant scorpions like the Elder Scrolls and Fallout love to do. Just, make regular creatures big. So, that's me. What about you, Tyler? Anything you're sticking out to you?
Knights of the Old Republic 2. That's the one that sticks out. And then again, I kind of want to go back and do Red Dead again before Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's now 1X enhanced gives me another reason to go back and do it again.
Yeah. Just
to see kind of the difference and how it looks. But what I want to ask you guys, and Force Unleashed was actually a fun game for me too, back in the day.
Yeah, it was fun.
I have Gears of War 2 as part of, I got through whatever I got. Gears of War 2 is added, so that's cool. What I want to ask you guys, though, is this enough? Like, we're getting this litany of backwards compatible titles, and that's great. Do you feel like they're doing it as sort of a, like...
We have nothing
replacement?
else.
So we got nothing else to give you, so let's give you a bunch of old shit.
Yes.
Yeah, because...
For sure it is.
Let's be real here. I have so much new shit I still have to get through that this old shit that was fun and I loved playing at the time, I'm never going to go back and play it because there's like 200 games in my backlog of shit that's come out in the last 2, 3, 5 years. So something that came out 10 years ago, like way down on the list. Like, yeah, I'd love to go back and maybe give Knights of the Old Republic 2 a go, but then I have to also deal with bad, like, UI
AI,
or what have you, or AI, or just, dated graphics when I can play some of the newer stuff that, smoothed out gameplay and looks nice and is still fun that I haven't experienced.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
In all fairness, though, I think a lot of these games appeal to a lot of other people, and people will play these games. Especially like these, I don't know the price of these games. I'm sure they're about $20 to $30 or something like that.
So I'll tell you what they need to be. I'll tell you what the price needs to be. The price needs to be included with Game Pass. That's what it needs to be.
That would be pretty
That
awesome.
would be,
because that's where they need to drive this right now, as a substitute for the fact that they have nothing new.
Yeah.
And they need to push Game Pass hard, because that's the advantage. That's the one, other than the strength of the console. It's the one clear advantage they have over PlayStation right now.
Yeah. I was explaining that to somebody because they're mainly PlayStation. And I think I was like explaining them to like about the Xbox and Game Pass. And he's like, so that almost makes me want to buy an Xbox or whatever. So it is very appealing. So if they like throw this in with it as well, then it would just do nothing but help to the appeal. Especially
because once I play, like Knights of the Old Republic 2, I never played. So there's a good chance I'm going to explore that at some point. And that's the type of game, though, that I feel like once I'm done playing it, I'm not going to play it again.
Mm-hmm.
That is tailor-made for Game Pass.
Yeah. If there was achievements like attached to these games, would that make it more appealing to you?
Maybe. I'm not as much of like an achievement hunter as I was in the past. I used to be. In the 360 days, like, achievements were a big deal to me. Yep. Now, not so much anymore. I don't know why it is. I think because they've shifted. Gaming has shifted from kind of a solo experience, other than multiplayer shooters and stuff like that, to a more community and shared experience. So it's more about playing with other people. Like, I like getting out and playing with you guys and with members of the community. I enjoy that more, and that drives me more now than getting that achievement to pop on the screen. You know, we'll play games and we'll be like, oh, I got an achievement, cool.
Yeah.
But it's not like, okay, I need this achievement, let's go here. You know? Yeah. We don't play like that. So I don't know. Like, I want to say yes, but I think the real answer is no. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it's nice. It's good to have. But like I said earlier, this needs to be the supplement to the first-party lineup you're presenting, not the centerpiece. Because their whole Inside Xbox episode this week was centered around this. This was the thing. That's all you got to talk about? Like, there's some issues there. And I'm so hoping that they've got something up their sleeve for E3 that's going to shock us and surprise us. They need to. And I don't want to set the expectation for that, because then we're setting them up just for failure, right?
Well, if they don't, they're setting themselves up for failure.
Sure.
Like, I keep saying it, they need a big E3 here full of software. And pull a Sony route and, you know, say, hey, you know, this game, these are what we got coming out. And sure, some of them don't come out till 2025. But, you know, that's okay.
I think you're right. I think they need to show proof of concept on a couple of games, just to be like, "Hey, this is in the works." I still think it's a massive disappointment if they don't launch a Halo game this year.
2 months, we will know.
Yeah, we will. 2 months from right now, E3 will be going on, and we'll be halfway to losing our voices.
Yes,
but
because we will be all over that.
So yeah, we'll have a ton of coverage for E3. And we'll get more into that as we get a little bit closer. We're still 2 months out, so we got like 8 episodes, 9 to go before E3.
Be patient.
Yeah, be patient. We'll talk a lot of E3 soon.
You'll be sick of it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah. So we get a lot of questions from the community about E3, and it's like, we don't want to jump into it yet. Because that's kind of like covering NFL football. Like, the moment Super Bowl's over, they start covering the draft, right? And it's like, it never ends. You know, E3 we'll start talking about a few weeks out from the event itself. So let's get into the last story we got this week, and that's Sea of Thieves, and they've got new content on the way. Yeah, a lot of complaints from the community, and a lot of them fair about what's going on in the game. And we played actually for, you know, we streamed last weekend, and we put, a good 5.5 hours in, right around there. We went and did a lot of different things, and some of it was really fun, and some of it was really frustrating. And we'll talk about that in a second, but let's talk first about kind of what Rare's committing to, you know, continue the development of this game and continue to make the experience more of an evolving, living thing than just like, here's the game, go play. So they want to, and this is right from their site, they want to bring players together in interesting ways, encouraging different types of player encounters. And Steve, I know you have stuff to say about that. We'll get to that in a sec. They want to enrich the world that players adventure in. I mean, that's a really general way of saying something good, but we don't totally know what that means. They want to give players new ways to play, which I think is important, because I think, Graham, you feel sometimes like it's just a continuous grind of completing voyages, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a loop, like a not very diverse loop.
Yep. So on that note, too, they want to give players a variety of goals and rewards, so different types of things you can work for. And they want to broaden the journey to Pirate Legend, which I think is important, because right now the only way to get Pirate Legend is to go grind out those voyages. And I think that if you can get there in different ways, that's really good. So their first content update called, well, before I even get into that, they've committed that all of their updates are free. That's awesome, and they deserve credit for that. Regardless of whatever criticism you've given them for the game, some of it fair, some of it, my opinion, not fair. But I think that the fact that they're making all content updates free is great because they don't want to splinter their community, and I think that's really cool. So that's good. So the first one's coming in May. It's called the Hungry Deep. It's going to bring a new AI threat to the world, and they say crews are going to have to work together to discover and defeat the threat as part of a unique event. Now, I don't know if that unique event is just something like the Skull Island forts that you have to go conquer. I hope it's not just that. Yeah, or attempt. We'll get to that. I hope it's a little more than that. They said there's new mechanics being introduced to assist players on that adventure. There's unique rewards players can earn as part of it. And then they'll begin weekly events during May as well, where they introduce new mechanics and give players fun new ways to play, according to them, with weekly events and rewards. So then, after May, over the summer, they're going to be releasing Cursed Sails, which brings a new ship type, Forsaken Shores, which introduces players to, quote, a perilous new part of the world to explore. Both those updates are also going to include new gameplay mechanics, AI threats, and unique rewards. So they've got it mapped out. There's stuff coming.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I'm going to let you go first here. The promise of getting to interact with other players more. How fun does that sound to you?
Oh God, that sounds awful. For those of you who joined us on our stream last Saturday on Twitch of Sea of Thieves, and we'll be doing this regularly on Saturdays, so come, stop by TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch to watch our misery, because that's what it was. That we were just getting harassed by one ship over and over and over again, and it felt a little. Okay, I don't want to throw cheating around. But
no, they weren't.
Like they were shooting at us without making noise, and
I swear to God, Steve, we never got hit by the one attack, and our ship was sinking.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, and
it would show up on our ships too.
And I would also like to point out, it's really fucking stupid that you shoot someone out of the cannon and it doesn't make a sound. Okay? I don't care if it's a cannonball or a person in the cannon, it's going to make a blast. Okay? That's just how physics works, I think. Probably. I'm pretty sure it should make a sound, and it shouldn't be fucking quiet.
Well, we should ask the NHL developers, because they worked on the Hadron Collider.
Well, yeah, should. But, there needs... I was listening to a show the other day, and it's funny because it happened to us on Saturday. I think I was listening to them on Sunday, and they said the exact same thing. There is no deterrent for people attacking other people's ships. None whatsoever. Like, you might get sunk, but you don't lose gold. You can just harass people, and if you're, somewhat decent, we're not the best players in the world, and we aren't very good at ship combat like some other people's are. And if you're good at ship combat, there's nothing stopping you from being an asshole and going around harassing people. So what I want to see from Sea of Thieves is either making a PvE only environment, which would be cool with me because I much prefer PvE except in structured PvP situations, which is why I still like Halo or Destiny's PvP arena, because it's structured. But I don't like this free harassment trolley shit that goes on in games like Sea of Thieves or any of the PvP servers for Mamorpagas. And I said that just because I know Graham loves when I phonetically sound out acronyms. But
Thank you.
I don't like that shit. And there's no option to avoid it, and it might end up making me not play this game anymore, because as much fun as I was having at some points in the stream, because I'm an amazing captain, that was annoying. And we went to go do the Skull Fort, right? And then another ship come by, and do they try to help us do the Skull Fort? As friendly neighborhood pirates. No, they start trying to sink our fucking ship. And,
Yeah.
set me off.
So-
I did take a fucking gunpowder barrel to the bottom of the ship
He did.
and watch them sink into the ocean. And I died, but I don't care because it was fun. And it was a little payback.
So
for
think
their-
about it, and before I go to you, Graham, the first hour of our stream last Saturday was a blast. We were having a good time. Like, we was laughing. People in the our people in our community that were in the chat having a good time. Heard feedback from the community, like they loved it. It was really good. But then we go and we're gonna do this like special mission because Graham goes and finds like message in the bottle on a shoreline on one of the islands we went to, right? And it's got this mission where you go and you have to kill 4 of the, like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, like elite pirates or whatever. So you gotta go kill 4 of them on the same island. So we travel there, we go to do it. And it was challenging and it was fun.
Yes.
Like, there were different ways to kill each one. You had to shine light on some of them to, make them visible and vulnerable. You had to throw water on a different kind, the metal ones, to make them slow down so you could attack them and kill them. That was fun. As soon as we finish that and we get the 4 skulls on our ship, here come the band of assholes from nowhere. And they're going to attack and sink us. And Steve's like, screw these guys. They're not getting our skulls. And he throws our skulls in the ocean. I thought that was funny. But
I don't think it worked, but
I don't think it worked. They got it because we got the achievement right after. Speaking of achievements I don't want, the achievement right after for, like, have another crew steal, like, your treasure and turn it in. We got that right after. So, but that's when it turned south. Because that was our first encounter with that ship. And then we had another, and another, and I think maybe another after that. And they just kept coming back and trolling. And this is after the update that's supposed to spawn you far enough away that you don't get trolled. But here's my thing. What are they doing to combat cheaters in the game? Because that's a proven fact that cheaters exist. Because there's crossplay between PC and console. And if you play on PC, you can download the cheat that reveals the location of everybody and auto focuses headshots when you aim your sniper. So what are they doing to combat that? I didn't see anything about that in this article. And here's the thing. I'm not shitting on the game. I enjoy the game. That part was frustrating, so I'm with you on that, Steve. But I enjoy the game. I have fun. And that's why when I wrote the review for XboxHub.com, and head over there, by the way, for all the latest and all the Xbox news, XboxHub.com, I wrote the review there. I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I see the fun in the game and I see the potential in the game, and I'm not just focused on what's wrong. Like, there's a lot of good in this game. There's a lot of fun in this game. Is it perfect? No. That's why I didn't give it, 10 or 5 out of 5. I gave it 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10. It's not perfect, but there are things in the game that are a lot of fun. But you can't, Rare, I hope you're listening, somebody from Rare, you can't allow other players to ruin the fun for everybody else and just be like, oh, well, we want to create more player encounters.
Yeah. You can do that if you make a PvE environment.
Yep.
Let me choose between PvE and PvP world, like literally every other fucking Momorpaga. Sorry. Just get mad. Get my blood pressure up.
Just get it out.
So, Graham, your thoughts?
Okay, so foremost, I'm going to give props to Rare because they've actually been listening to the community and the complaining and all that stuff on Facebook and whatever media. So this is kind of where this is coming from. Like, they're listening. They're like, okay, they don't like this, or they've been complaining about this, or they would like to see this, and they're actually doing that. So I give them kudos for doing that. That's much appreciated. As far as, the thing is, with these types of games, even with like The Division, where you had I'm gonna call it Dark World, even though it's not Dark World.
Dark Zone.
Yeah. So the Dark Zone.
Dark Zone, yep.
So basically, people would just wait until you would go out and get stuff, or when you come out and like kill you and just take all your stuff. And as far as you have these online games, there will be people like this, and it's good to see a company like that try to combat it and stuff like that. And I think we were talking about it before. Another thing they could do is if there's these people, a crew on a ship, and they go around and like sink, like after they do like so much, they should become like wanted or something like that, and basically reward people.
Like in the Division, right? Because that's what the Division did.
Yeah, the Division
didn't
did that
work,
as well.
but they did it.
Yeah, so they could attempt something like that, and then maybe like more ships around can like get together and try to take them out. Because if they're being assholes to us, then maybe they're being assholes to other people, and then we can team up and take them out. But yeah, like I said, it's tricky to get rid of people like that, and they don't want to like take away from the gameplay or something like that, or make it like cater to people like, oh, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of forces you to get better, maybe get a better strategy.
Sure.
But there are frustrating moments, and I think you just have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't mind getting sunk by another ship. Like, I'm not whining, right?
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
I am.
And there's going to be moments in the game, well, Steve's whining, but that's okay. There's going to be moments in the game where it's really disappointing because you just complete something like we did with the 4 skulls, and then boom, right? That sucks, but it's part of the game. The fact that it happened again and again and again and again after that, that's what sucks. Because they, at that point, were just trolling.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just thought of this off the top of my head, so it's not very well thought out, but tell me what you guys think. What if they create public events where you have to work together, and if you don't, if you troll and you attack another ship, now it takes either gold from you or reputation from you or both, and you could actually lose Pirate Legend status for doing that.
That's not a bad idea. And like they mentioned about they're going to have like events and stuff like that, and we have no idea what that is.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate to myself, trying to convince myself. Like, this is a pirate game after all, so you want to make it piratey, but I don't know. The unnecessary trolling is what grinds my gears. And I understand it's a pirate game and pirates killed other ships just for fun sometimes, but I don't know. I would like to be griefed less, and I would like to play on a PvE server where
here's the thing,
face even difficult AI would be more fun than shitty humans. But
there's times over the course of this game where it makes sense to turn on another ship, and you have to be aware of it. Like, if we all work together, like, say we ran into a couple other crews, and we took down one of the Skull Islands together, we'd have to be really cautious when leaving that island.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the moment where either we could turn on somebody or they could turn on us. Right? And that's in the spirit of the game, and that's part of what makes the game fun. Right? But when it's just trolling to troll, what I hate in gaming, and not just this game, but any game, is the idea that, hey, my fun in this game is ruining it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
Dark Souls
that.
is a good example of that
I
as well.
hate that, yes.
Oh, yes. Dark Souls, when we played,
I hate that. It just, and it sucks. So, I hope it's not like that. But like I said, the cheating with the program on PC, that, that speaks to what players are willing to do. Like, this isn't supposed to be that type of game. It's not all that competitive. Like, what the hell do you gain by doing that? You don't move up the leaderboard. There isn't one. I don't get it. It's just doing it to do it because you think it's funny, and that's fine. Like, sometimes it is funny, but I'd like to see a little bit more of a cooperative environment in the game and work with other people, because that's how you meet other people, right? And maybe you start chatting with them, maybe you get along, maybe they become somebody on your friends list. But we're years beyond that. We've talked about that on past shows. So, I don't know. I mean, Graham, what would it take? Because you're probably the coolest on this game out of all three of us. Like, you're the coldest on it. So, what would it take? What update would Rare need to make to this game to make you say, I love this game?
You know, I don't really have the answer for that. Um, yeah, like I no, I don't really have an answer. Maybe if I play it more, I will find it, but I don't know what it will be. Like, it's basically the generic idea of the game is basically what the game is. So, like, I can't say, oh, it's got to be a totally different game. So, I don't know. Maybe I just need to be maybe open-minded
sure.
or put more time into it.
That might be part of it, sure. But let me ask it this way then. Before this game came out, you were really excited for Sea of Thieves. So,
I was.
What did you expect it to be that it's not?
I think it was just like the nostalgia of like playing the beta. Like I honestly had the greatest time in my life. It was I guess it basically experienced everything for the first time, like getting like drunk and trying to walk and like puking on people and like blocking their view and just doing like silly stuff. But after a while, that silly stuff is like, okay, well, I guess I can do this, or like it's not as much fun. So it just seems like it's one of those games you just like it just wears off really fast. So
Okay.
unless you're
That's
really
fair.
like gonna stick to, okay, I want to get all the treasure maps and go to pirate superstar status or whatever.
Pirate Legend. Yeah.
Yeah, pirate legend.
Or Pirate Superstar if you want. You can do that.
But yeah, so that's why it'd be nice to experience like the game firsthand over and over, but obviously you can't. So I think that is the big that was more appealing to me, because basically I can just think about what the game is now over and over. Like, we haven't faced a Kraken or whatever, and I don't know how much exciting that's
well,
going to be.
I'm hoping we see that tomorrow when we play, because we're going to stream it again. Real quick, Graham, I'll answer the same question I asked you. Like, I just want to see ways that encourage players to play together more rather than against each other. And I think the only way to do that, I think you're going to have to punish people for griefing. You're going to have to figure out a way to do that. Steve, real quick, answer to the same question.
I don't know, dude. I really honestly don't. I think the punishment for griefing would be my favorite choice, or giving me a PvE server.
Yeah, that too. I can see that for sure. But then, how do you balance that? I mean, you'd have to slow down the progression rate, right? Because people would just go there to get to Pirate Legend. And then go grief on the ships.
You make more Skull Island events happen, and this talk of, like, difficult AI, you just add more AI enemies into the game.
Yeah,
and then, too. Like, I don't have an issue dying to AI.
I would like to see AI ships.
Yeah.
With characters from pirate lore. That would be kind of cool. So, Steve, you love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. What if we saw some characters from there? What if we saw Blackbeard or whoever, right? That'd be pretty sweet.
Yep.
So, all right. Let's wrap up news here. We want to move into releases. We're going to get through this super quick because we want to get to questions. We have some good ones this week. So let's move into releases.
Now,
all right, let's start with Xbox. So we've got a couple games coming out this week. Not a whole lot for Xbox, unfortunately, compared to what's coming out on PlayStation. But Earthlock you can get on the 14th. If you're a pinball fan, Pinball FX3, and you're a Star Wars fan, you can get Star Wars The Last Jedi table on 4/17. And you can get Don't Starve Mega Pack on the 17th of April as well. Games with Gold, you can get The Witness, Assassin's Creed Syndicate for free this month with Games with Gold. So that's it for Xbox. What do you got for PlayStation, Steve?
All right, PlayStation on the 17th, you got Yakuza 6. And then on the 20th, you have God of War. And then PS Plus games, you have Mad Max and Trackmania Turbo for free. Graham, Switch?
Okay, so for the Switch, on the 17th, you can get Wild Guns Reloaded. And also on the 17th, you can get It's Spring Again, of course, because it's always spring again at one point. And the third one, which would be the biggest one, is Nintendo Labo. So I have a feeling this game is going to sell well, but I'm definitely curious to see how it does.
All right.
move on.
Quick
All right.
question for Graham, though. I mean, do we know that spring is here?
Don't.
No,
I know,
we're not
as
doing
soon-
that right now.
As soon as I was reading that, I'm like, no. Inside
So,
joke.
inside
Let's
joke,
go into
everybody.
actual questions.
Inside joke that you don't want to know anything else about. So,
But if you do want
let's.
to know, you can ask me.
Nope, don't. So, all right, let's move into fan mail for the week.
All right,
Steve, take it away.
First question. Brian asks, if you could take any two genres and mix them to make a new kind of game, what would it be? Think like Rocket League.
So I'll go first here real quick. I don't know. It's one of those things where, like Graham was talking about earlier with Sunset Overdrive, and I was like, yeah, this is a hybrid of a lot of different genres. A lot of times with this, I don't know that I want it till I get it. So I'm going to take the easy way out and say I really don't know. Sometimes it just shows up, and you never think of RC cars with soccer at the same time, but then it comes and you're like, this is awesome. So the honest answer is I don't know. A lot of times I don't know I want it till I get it. So how about you guys?
I'd agree. Yeah, I don't know until I get it type of situation. I mean, I do like RPGs that also cross over to a high school like dating simulator. Oh wait, I have Persona 5. Or Disney mixed with Final Fantasy. That seems like a crossover that might work. Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts. So, like those are games that who knew they would be amazing until you got them. Or at least in the case of Kingdom Hearts. Like,
right.
Disney and Final Fantasy sound silly, and then it was amazing. So, I'm with you. Yeah. I guess a Dungeons & Dragons type, like, game mixed with, like, the open world of Zelda. But even then, like, you have Divinity Original Sin 2, which is basically that. So, yeah, there's nothing that really sticks out. Oh, you know what? I got it. Star Wars and Skyrim. There we go. Easy answer.
Okay,
Star
there
Wars.
you go. Graham,
not
how
really
about
genres, but
Okay, but wouldn't that be like a Knights of the Old Republic or something? Like
Graham,
a
don't ruin
Bethesda title, Star
it.
Wars?
Don't
Okay.
ruin it.
Okay,
We're short on time, Graham. What would you do?
Okay, so mine would be a combination of a skiing game and a shooting game. So basically, you ski and you shoot.
So you want Biathlon 2018?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a shooter, like maybe.
Well, that is a shooter.
A battle royale, like a battle royale. Yeah, but I mean,
on skis. You want
Okay.
SSX mixed with like a zombie shooting game, then, where you have to go down
So-
the mountain and fight.
no zombies. No
So
zombies.
what you're asking for is Call of Duty global warming. Okay.
Sure.
Fantastic. All right, Steve, what do you got next?
All right, Blake asked, "What are some games you plan on taking off the backlog during the slow summer months?"
Well, one that everyone keeps yelling at me, and I wish they'd stop yelling at me, is Red Dead Redemption.
Nobody's yelling at
So-
you, Graham.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
All right.
Graham.
Sensitive. Anyways, yes. That would be one. Also, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'd like to do The Witcher, the DLC content. Because
Okay.
I think I'm doing a shame by not completing that. And that's
Okay.
just two. There's a bunch of other ones.
So I'll go next. I've got quite a few, actually. Evil Within 2, which I actually plan to play this fall. And I know, total hypocrite, because I raved about it after E3 last year.
It's like me not playing
but
Breath of the Wild.
I know. So I'm gonna play it during the fall this year, probably once we get to October, because there won't be anything good out then. And also Wolfenstein 2, I didn't finish. I want to say Conquest by Friday. That's not the game. Super Lucky's Tale, and then I want to hit Red Dead again, and I've still never finished the BioShock collection on Xbox One. So I'd like to do that during the summer months as well. Steve, what do you got?
I have Horizon Zero Dawn, which I never got around to finishing,
Yeah,
and now that I'm getting the
that too.
PS4 Pro, I want to play it in 4K, so I've been
Yep.
waiting. And then I want to go back and play Breath of the Wild, and I want to replay Persona 5. I got the bad ending in Persona 5, and so I want to go New Game Plus and beat it all.
Okay.
And so those are my. I have a few more, but
Now,
really,
are these
those aren't
considered
backlogs.
though?
I've
Yeah,
already
that's what I
played
was
them
just gonna
all.
say. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's nothing on my backlog that I'm really like dying to play. Those are the games that I will probably play over the
So
summer.
we got time for one more, and real quick before you ask. Any overrun questions, any overfull questions on our Saturday night stream on Twitch, we'll address those questions there. You'll still be entered to win the monthly giveaway. So join us there to hear us chat about those. Steve, what's our last question on the show?
All right, last question from Dylan. He said, if you had to pick any game that you played in the last 6 to 9 months, which would you consider an instant classic and why? Graham, don't say Zelda. His words, not mine. You can say Zelda, Graham.
I'll say Zelda, but I don't know. Well, I have played in the last 6 to 9 months, but that's not when it first came out and I experienced for the first time. But I really don't have an answer, so I'm going to go Zelda. Live with it, Dylan.
Mine would be Divinity Original Sin 2. It's like, you can just tell it's a classic. It's like Baldur's Gate 2, and that game's a classic, except it's a modernized version of it. So, I've been raving about it. If you've listened to the show over the last, month, I've mentioned it probably 3 or 4 times. Yeah. So that's mine. Or Zelda. Okay. Zelda's also an instant classic.
So I'm going to take easy way out here, because there's other games we've been really excited for that we played over the last year. Monster Hunter, not an instant classic. It's good. It's fun. Other games like that. Games last fall. Nothing that really falls in the instant classic thing. Destiny 2, definitely not. So I'm going to have to go back and say, Zelda. I'm going to have to go with Graham. And even though I haven't played a ton of the game, I know when I'm playing it that it's special. So
there you go, Dylan. Cross the board.
Yeah. So that's it. All right, for all the other questions, if you asked one, thank you. We'll address those questions tomorrow on Twitch. When we do our stream, we'll probably play some Sea of Thieves again for a few hours and get out there and get, griefed and frustrated and all that stuff again. So please come join us for that. It'll be great. That's it for episode number 91 of the Gaming Hub. We're so happy that you joined us. Thank you for coming out and listening. Yes. And we'd love for you to take part in the community. So head on over to Facebook and look up the Gaming Hub forums. Go on Twitch and look up TXH Gaming Hub, or on Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. For Graham and Steve, I am Tyler saying thank you so much for joining us for episode number 91. We'll be back next week with episode 92. The countdown to 100 is on, everybody. We're excited because at 100, guess where we're at? E3. So,
yes.
We'll see you next week. Everybody have a great week. Have fun. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Appreciate you.